Okay, I think this is a really important point. How do we develop that inner knowing? And I think it's what we've talked about literally for 2 hours now. We're getting, to the end of this hour, and we had a whole other hour, more or less. So, but if we could capsulize in how people could come into their own inner knowing, not wait to go to a session with you, which would be beautiful, not wait to go to a guru, not wait for the full moon, but internally, moment to moment to moment, how can we come in and rub up against that and know the difference?
All right.
Okay. Good.
Very simply put, number one, realize that everyone has that ability. This is not for some special people, not for the psychics out there. It is for you. It is for everyone. And you have that ability. And it is simply, number one, remembering in the moment that there's someone to ask besides the outside authorities, because that's what our training is. From the time we're very young.
Right and wrong.
Right?
And
Who's going to tell us this and that?
What the rules are.
Yes. Yeah. And so taking a moment, when you have a decision, for example, and you can practice this, pretend like there's no one to ask.
This
Maybe
is the first
is.
time it came up.
Yes.
And you're the only one who can
Right.
decide it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So pretend there isn't someone in the next room who has an opinion. Right?
And they do. We know
they
that.
have many opinions, right?
We can generally assume that.
So take a moment and still your mind. Still your mind of the mental chatter and the noise, and go within for a moment. Take a deep breath and ask some questions. If this is appropriate, and how does this relate to me? Because so much of it is really in the questions. And I didn't realize until I was much older, I thought everyone asked questions like I did, and that everyone would really know what to ask. And I didn't really understand until I got on this healing path where I was helping people in the way I do now, that many people, part of their conditioning is to feel like they cannot ask.
Yeah, there's a right and wrong answer.
And like no one will answer.
Right. Or it's already written, either
Yes.
in the Bible or
like
in
someone
society.
else knows.
Right. Right.
Or feeling silly about asking.
Right.
And in fact, they have the answer. And sometimes even in the simple asking, the answer comes to you. It simply does. And one thing I suggest to people when they do work with me privately is to write me a note in advance of the session about what they want to focus on. And I can't tell you how many times the people have told me that two or three of the things they were going to want to focus on in the session were resolved by the time we had the session. They thought about it, they wrote it down, they cast it out to the universe, and it was answered. And we can all do this. The answers are there. And they will come in very simple ways. It's not always some big booming voice. It's not always a big angel showing up. It could be you ask a question and you're driving along and you look up and you notice a billboard that has the answer.
And you know that that's the answer for you.
The billboard could say the
Right.
end. You could have asked,
Right.
is it time to end the relationship? You get the billboard. That's your answer. The end.
Right. And we have to be,
Yes, you have to pay attention. Right.
And be open to
Yes.
the answer.
Yes.
Right.
And I go into some of those things in my book.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, 30 seconds, again, on this area about, and it's an important area, about discernment and internal knowing. If you could give somebody 20 seconds on what would be the best way to do that.
All right, first, you are here on the planet now to be a divine change maker, and that means taking in information, questioning it, and coming up with your own response, and beginning to trust yourself. Beginning to trust yourself more than you trust what's out there.